Yeah, good morning, people. How you doing? 12th man's back. Thought I'd do a bit of an earlier show today. Got one with lead judges straight after this. We're going to be redirecting you, so make sure you do not go anywhere for the next couple of hours. It's going to be Arsenal content, mate, because Arsenal are finally making some moves. Now, is it time to get excited? Not so sure yet. I need to see some players in Arsenal shirts before that happens. However, there is news that Arsenal are finally starting to wake up a little bit. Now, it might not be the signings that we're all going to get excited about. There might be a couple of names that do give you a little bit of hope. However, when I get an idea of who we're after, that doesn't normally excite me until there's a couple of names that have potentially been on the kind of wish list. Now, we're going to go into those names and what they might be and what they might look like, and also get your opinions in the chat about who you think Arsenal should sign from this list. And if you do believe that any of them are going to end up in Arsenal shirts. So that's what we're going to be chatting about today. We're going to be talking about Eze. We're going to be talking about Mosquera. We're going to be talking about Norgard, Zubamendi and Kepa, and the hunt for Rodrygo, Sesko or Gyökeres. That's what we're going to be talking about. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe and that you've checked out the clip of me and Sam predicting Arsenal's summer transfer window. Really good and interesting to get Sam's thoughts as a Liverpool fan. He is not hopeful and he is not scared. He actually predicts Arsenal's summer transfer window. And if I'm honest, if he's correct, it's not going to be very exciting. However, I've tried to be as positive as I can be to try and suggest that actually Arsenal do need to do business and hopefully will do business in the coming days. And it looks like the 1st of July date is when everything's going to be confirmed and announced. And that is, of course, the PSR stuff. So we're going to talk about that as well. Make sure, if you haven't done so already, that you're with Match Bingo. That's the QR code for it, or you can click on the link in the description. We've got a lot of people that have downloaded this app, and a lot of people are playing it at the moment for the Club World Cup. We have got the Women's Euros as well within the coming weeks. So please make sure, if you have not downloaded Match Bingo, that you are, because people are winning money. And it is very, apparently, easy to win. Now, I had another... You're not going to like this, Gooners. A Tottenham fan has now won. They've messaged me to say that a Spurs fan has now won on the leaderboard. So we've now got Liverpool winning, Arsenal in second. Funny that, isn't it? Newcastle, now Spurs, and there's a Wolves fan that have won as well. So please make sure you get Match Bingo. It gives you a card automatically. It ticks it off automatically for you. And I have been literally one corner away, and then the other day one substitution away from winning £150. So it can be incredibly frustrating as well. But trust me, it is well worth it. It's easy to make money. All you've got to do is credit £5 to your account once you set up your app, which is very easy to do. It takes a couple of seconds, and then you can play. So it's well worth it. Try and win some money in the summer. Let me know how you're getting on. Big up to everybody that's in the chat. All of you are here. Big up to all of you mods. Big up to all of you members. Big up to Shane, absolute legend. Big up to Craig. And great to see you all in here. Lawrence, big up to you. And big up to everyone that's watching on Catch Up. Let's get into it, shall we? Because there has been quite a lot of news overnight, and there's been quite a lot of news yesterday that involves Arsenal. I'm not excited, but some people, I suppose, will be. It's very easy to excite this fan base. You've got kind of a section, really. You've got a section of hyperventilators that are usually in the chat, which I call them, that are usually on like Football Terrace when I'm on there, or they're only on like Harry's channel or Igal's channel when I go on there. That are all, I call them hyperventilators, because they sit there and they cry, oh, damn Potts this, damn Potts is a wanker, and start doing that. You've got another section that are quite chill in the middle, like, yeah, let's see what happens. Let's enjoy the summer. And you've got those that are ranting and raving, saying Arsenal are a disgrace. That's pretty much where we're at, I think, if I'm honest. Big up to Ace, new subscriber and a member, absolute legend. Big up to Smokey, who's also a member as well. Really appreciate that. I really do. Right, let's go into the Arsenal stuff. Now, there's actually some positive news. And our Arsenal's two best signings so far, if I'm honest, have been the players that we already have that have decided to sign new deals. And I think, if I'm honest, this is probably the biggest positive of last season and of the last coming days. Myles Lewis-Skelly has decided to join Gabriel in signing a new long-term deal at Arsenal. And this one, for me, does excite me. I've got to be honest. I'm a huge, huge fan of this kid. I think he's going to be phenomenal. I'm a huge lover of his passion, his drive, his desire. I love his attributes, and I think he can be a future midfielder for Arsenal in that box-to-box role. I think he's got the strength, the power, the drive, and I just think everything about him at the moment has been fairly positive. Yeah, he's got a little bit of a nasty streak in him and a bit of a bite, and maybe there's a bit of discipline stuff there. But you know what? People say he's got to get that out of his game. I actually disagree. I love the fact that he's got a bit of bite in him and he actually does give it back a bit. He has a little bit of shithousery. He's obviously got the stay humble stuff and he's obviously got the world at his feet at the moment. If I'm honest with you, for an 18-year-old to be put into the England side, scoring his debut, to be put now into a ready-made left-back for Arsenal and be put in there as someone who can take over the likes of Calafiori and Timber and co that have played there previously, I think he has been phenomenal. And it's one that I am excited about, not just for Lewis-Skelly this season and next, but actually to look at for the future, because I think he's been outstanding. We've got Richard who's put in a super chat who says, are we seriously going to let Partey go? That'll be a massive mistake to let him go. If he wants 200 bags a week, just give it to him. He deserves it. No. Richard, we're going to come on to that because I'm with you. I am absolutely with you. And I also want to say thank you to you because you've gifted 10 memberships to the chat. I mean, that is insane. Thank you so much, bro. I really appreciate that, man. You're an absolute legend. And, you didn't need to do that because you did that the other week. And I really appreciate you for doing that. That is very, very kind of you. Can we all say a massive thanks to Richard in the chat as well? Because he deserves that. That is unbelievable. So thank you so much, man. I really appreciate that. So the Lewis-Skelly stuff's happened. It's a new long-term contract. Obviously, Berta is being spoken to as having a lot to do with this. And a lot of people have said about Berta saying that, it isn't just about the players he signs, it's also the players he sells, but it's also who he's going to keep here. And we all know that Saka, Saliba, Gabriel, Lewis-Skelly, Ethan, Martinelli, they're all running out of their contracts. So it'll be interesting to see how many we get signed up. Everybody believes Saka's signing. Gabriel has. Lewis-Skelly now has. Apparently, Ethan Nwaneri, they're confident will follow. And then it's about what happens with Saliba and Martinelli. But apparently, Myles Lewis-Skelly has said that he's proud and happy. He knows those words are simple, but he thinks they sum up how I feel signing for this club. I'm a fan, and it's like a dream come true. I've embodied the values of Highland and come through. I've still got a lot of years ahead of me. So if I can keep staying humble and being a good person, that's the most important thing to me. I absolutely love the fact he said that. If we can keep staying humble, what a legend. Absolute hero. He says he wants a legacy. He wants to win everything there is to win in the game. Wants to win trophies on the biggest stages whilst being a person that's always learning and stay grounded, which is so important. I know I've taken a lot of experience from the games about the positive moments and the mistakes that I've made. I'm definitely more ready now for the next season. I just want to keep learning and keep improving. Now, I don't know what the plans are for Lewis-Skelly long term, but I think it's interesting that alongside a defender who we're going to come through in a minute, we've been linked with Yoel Harto, who from Ajax can play left-sided centre-back and left-back. He's very similar in the attributes of Jurriën Timber, and he actually sees Jurriën Timber as an idol and someone he looked up to as a role model when he was at Ajax. And I just wonder if the long-term future of this Arsenal side looks like it will have a Harto or a Calafiori as a centre-back, and then Lewis-Skelly be moved into midfield as a box-to-box midfielder. I just wonder if that's the future. He's only 18. I don't think we should be moving him out of left-back yet, I will say that. However, I think that could be an option that Arteta looks towards because he's so obsessed with Jurriën Timber and he's also obsessed with left-backs. It wouldn't surprise me if that was the next move. But we'll see. We've got to get him through the door first. He's not been heavily linked since the signing, or it seems, of the other centre-back from Valencia we're going to mention in a minute. So let's take a look at what else is happening. Obviously, Andrea Berta is here with Myles Lewis-Skelly, signed, sealed, delivered. And that's really interesting for me that he's the guy that is alongside him. It's just him. No Mikel Arteta, no Richard Garlick, no Cronkies, literally just these two. And that to me proves that he is actually the focal point now. We want to be seeing more pictures of Andrea Berta around Arsenal doing his job. And I think that for me is a massive deal. So let's hope the others do follow. There's obviously stuff on Myles Lewis-Skelly as well. There's stuff I've been going through as a youngster, going through the stadium tour, etc., etc. And some of his clips of how excited he's been. And to be honest with you, I've got to say, everything that he did was outstanding. The Real Madrid game, even times at PSG, second leg, it looked a little bit scared for him. But you know what? He gave his all in the first. And I thought when you look at what he's done in terms of the goals that he scored, even the moments where he was discipline problems with his kind of sendings off, he then kind of went on top of that with the Manchester City goal. He's been phenomenal. I'm a huge fan. Huge fan. So let's see what happens with Myles. It's going to be very interesting, that's for sure, what happens with Myles Lewis-Skelly, because I think he's one of our better players. I really do. I must say that. I think he's been the shining light. And I think at left back, he's the guy that we need to keep there. There's over 600 of you in here already. Do me a favor, hit the like button and subscribe. Make sure you're following Match Bingo and you've downloaded that for the Club World Cup games. And look, let's talk about the next bit of news. I don't know what people's thoughts are on this, but I'm not as excited as some. it links in with what's happened here with what Richard was saying. And it's, of course, the Norgard signing. Now, I know that that's not something people want to go over again, but I will just give my opinion on that very quickly. Whether you think this is class, whether you think this is a top bit of business, whether you think this is an outstanding, clever, shrewd bit of business, or you think it's a bad signing, this is a downgrade on Partey and Zubimendi. That's what it is. In my head, I'm thinking, give Partey what he wants, sign Zubimendi and Partey. You've got Rice who can play there as well. You've basically got 3 of the best DMs in the league that are going to be able to play there in the number 6 role should you need it. And instead, we've got rid of Partey and Jorginho, and we bought Norgard. Now, I don't particularly hate Norgard. Don't particularly love Norgard. I think Norgard is what he is. I think he's a player that's going to come in and be a squad player. But when I look at him, I saw his goals. He is so much like Mikel Merino in terms of his height, physical attributes, presence that he's got in the box. I think he's better in terms of duel winning. I think his stats are better, apparently. He's Premier League proven. Mikel Merino is still not Premier League proven in midfield. He's hardly played there. But I just know that this signing is a Mikel Arteta signing. And this is the question I've still got for this fan base. Is this a Norgard, a Berta signing, or an Arteta signing? I'd love people to know that. What do people think? Like, what do people think? Because for me, like, I personally, I don't know why people are watching if you think I'm a crybaby. Just go and watch someone else who's not crying. Do you know what I mean? Go and watch someone else who ain't moaning. Yeah? So, latest people. Norgard, I don't think he's going to be the signing that we go, wow. I think he's going to come in and play a few games. But this is not an upgrade. And people that think we're saving loads of money by this deal, and they're going, wow, this is unbelievable. This is a brilliant piece of business. It's really not a brilliant piece of business. Like, this is just a signing that's coming into the club that is going to take us nowhere. He's a downgrade on Thomas Partey. He's not better. Oh, he's an upgrade on Jorginho. I don't think he is. I think Jorginho is just what you need when you're bringing in somebody into a rotational squad. He comes in, he brings the balance. I'm not a huge lover of Jorginho by any means, but I think with Jorginho, at least when he did play, you could actually see in a double pivot, he looked pretty good alongside Declan Rice. In fact, the season before the one just gone, he got man of the matches in performances where we beat Liverpool at home 3-1 and Manchester City at home 1-0. He was phenomenal. He was by far our best player in both of those games against the 2 biggest opposition. So Jorginho is a top player. He will go on and do good things, I'm sure, with the rest of his career in the next couple of years before he retires. Thomas Partey, we should have been saying, stay here. We'll give you 50 grand a week extra if that's what you want. But no, we've gone, let's try and save some money on wages with Norgard. Like, let's be honest, it's a downgrade, people. It's a downgrade. That's where I'm at. And people might think it's moaning. People might think it's not moaning. It's just saying what it is. This guy is not as good as Thomas Partey, and we've downgraded. That's just facts. It's not opinion. Who would you rather have in your midfield, Norgard or Partey? Oh, but we've saved money. We've saved money. All the accountants, we've saved money now. We haven't actually saved that much, by the way. What do they think we've now got? Oh, brilliant. Now we've got 80 million to go and lump down on Rodrygo. Finally, what a great bit of business. No, we've saved a couple of mil. Brilliant. Wow. Fantastic. Unbelievable. And then you'll get these idiots. Do you not understand how PSR works? I love that. Nobody had Norgard or Kepa on their wish list, but apparently it's extremely good business. Phenomenal business. Phenomenal business. What are we talking about here? But Sammy Mockbell has said that BBC Sport understands that Lucien Agome featured prominently on Arsenal's list of potential targets to replace Partey. Crucially, however, it's understood that Arteta identified Norgard because he preferred a Premier League ready-made player. So it is a Mikel Arteta signing then. So this one's got nothing to do with Andrea Berta. So what is Andrea Berta's role here? Is he to basically be pointing in the direction of who Arteta wants him to sign and then go and get that guy? I actually truly believe that is what he's been brought in to do. I truly believe that. Because at the moment, Kepa sounds like an Arteta deal. Zubimendi sounds like an Arteta deal. And Norgard sounds like an Arteta deal. We know that Sesko is an Arteta deal. I think the ones that are not are Gyökeres, Rodrygo, and of course the Valencia centre-back we're going to come to in a minute. I think those ones are Andrea Berta. So I think they're sharing this. I think they're mixing it. And if I'm honest with you, if we don't get Gyökeres and we end up with Sesko, that's going to be on Arteta. If we don't get Rodrygo and we end up with Nico Williams, who we're probably not going to get because it looks like he's going to Barcelona. That would have ended up being an Arteta deal. So come on, man. We've got to let Andrea Berta do his job, man, as well. Like, it's not all about what Arteta wants. He's got to have a say and say, look, I'm looking at this kind of type of profile. Then Andrea Berta goes and finds it. That's what should happen now. Because if you look at, I just saw an Instagram clip the other day, which was absolutely mad. They went through every single Arteta signing, in the reign of Mikel Arteta since he's been here, right? And they went through hits and misses. And this is why, personally, I believe Andrea Berta should now be given the reins. Because when you look at it, let's go through it quickly, right? Let's go through it quickly. It's honestly unbelievable how many are misses, yeah? When you look at the misses and hits of this, right? I'm going to read them out to you, okay? I'm not going to ask you in the chat because we'll be here all day whether you think it's a hit or a miss. But I'm going to give you my quick opinion of how many hits and misses Arteta has had, okay? Raheem Sterling, miss. Neto, miss. Matt Ryan, miss. Cedric, miss. Willian, miss. Austin Trusty, miss. Martin Odegaard, hit. Finally got a hit. And some people don't like him. Runnison, miss. Okay, so we've got one hit so far out of all those 12 signings, whatever it was. David Raya, hit. Marquinhos, miss. Matt Turner, miss. Pablo Mari, miss. Nuno Tavares, miss. Jorginho, I'll say hit because he did his job. Sambi Lokonga, miss. Tomiyasu, miss. Kivior, maybe a hit because he's a squad player. Trossard, hit. Gabriel Magalhaes, hit. Ramsdale, hit, but he's gone. Mikel Merino, miss so far. Zinchenko, miss. Vieira, miss. Timber, hit. Calafiori, miss at the moment. Partey, hit. Jesus, miss. Ben White, hit. Kai Havertz, for me, miss. Declan Rice, hit. How many misses have we got there out of 31 players? Out of 31 players. There's so many bad players there, man. So many bad players. 9 goalkeepers, 7 left backs, 0 centre forwards. All the attackers that he's brought in have pretty much been a miss, other than Trossard, who's kind of done his job as a squad player. Willian, Sterling, Marquinhos, Fabio Vieira. It's been some horrific misses. So this is why Andrea Berta needs to be given the tools now. He needs to be given the reins to say, right, you're now in charge of this. It isn't Mikel anymore. He's had his time with Edu and they didn't do a great job. So now we give it to Andrea Berta. Let's do this. That's where I'm at. We'll come back to the Sesko stuff and the striker stuff in a minute. But we're moving away from Norgard to a striker. Oh, no, sorry. It's another defender. But I will say that is tongue-in-cheek because I actually do think we need one, right? And I'll explain why. A lot of people say, oh my God, a defender, what are you getting another defender for? Well, I actually do think we've been crying out for a right-sided centre-back for a long time. Now, this guy actually has played at right-back and left-sided centre-back more than he has at left-back or right-back and right-sided defence. However, apparently he can play there. So I don't think this is a shockingly bad what-the-hell signing. I'm not going to say that he's brilliant because I don't know anything about him. But this has apparently been identified as Andrea Berta. So I do believe this one we should give a little bit more time. That's all I'm going to say. If Kivior goes, I think that, it makes sense. He stays at the moment. So for me, I think he's going to be the right-sided. If we do go and get Harto as well, people will lose their heads and have a meltdown. However, if we do get these players in alongside a winger and a striker and an attacking midfielder, I think it will make sense. So I'm talking about us getting between 6 to 8 players here, by the way. Yeah. Goalkeeper, two defenders, 2 midfielders. That's 5 already. Yeah. And then everyone wants a striker, everyone wants a left-sided winger, and everyone wants a creative midfielder. So that's 8 players we got to get. Come on, Arsenal. Apparently, it's moving. So let's see what happens. Mosquera, what do I know about him? Absolutely nothing. But Hand of Arsenal believes that Christian Mosquera is Arsenal's ideal centre-back target, and the club have already made contact regarding a transfer. It's also been reported from David Ornstein that Arsenal are working on the deal to sign him. Apparently, Arsenal have made a defensive signing a priority this summer with Mosquera their preferred option. Arsenal see Mosquera as ideal cover for Saliba and Gabriel. So this guy can play right-sided centre-back and left-sided centre-back as far as they're concerned at Arsenal. Now, the person I do speak to, When it comes to La Liga, of course, he's Liga Gunner, and he doesn't think he's that great. But he's 20. I think, in fact, he was 21 yesterday. I don't think he's a very old, experienced centre-half. He's one for the future. He's probably similar in the ilk of Jakob Kivior when we signed him. I don't know what's happening with Kivior. My gut tells me he's leaving because I think he wants first-team football, which means I actually do think alongside Mosquera, he'll actually go in for Harto again. Now, Yoral Harto might go to Chelsea. I don't know. But if we had Gabriel, Saliba, Mosquera and Harto, that's 4 centre-halves that's cover, finally. Then you've got Ben White and Timber at right back and Calafiori and Lewis-Skelly at left back. And Harto that can play there as well. Tomiyasu, forget him. Yeah, he'll be sold in January. As soon as he's fit, we'll just let him. We'll either mutually terminate his contract or he'll just be a kind of squad player that just tries to stay fit. Which is mad because he's on 100 grand a week. But he's going. We won't be giving him another contract. I think his contract's up at the end of next season. So, yeah, I don't expect to see much of Tomiyasu from Arsenal in an Arsenal shirt. So Mosquera's coming in, apparently. He's going to be cover for Saliba and Gabriel. What do I like about him? Pace. That's what I do like about him. I can only look now at the attributes he has and what he looks to be like on YouTube. I have no idea what he's like over a 90-minute game at Valencia. I'm not going to lie and say that I watch their games. I do not. The last centre-back we bought from Valencia was a disaster. We all know who that was, Mustafi. Let's hope he's better than him. The guy's got unbelievable physical attributes, and he is very pacey. He looks fairly comfortable on the ball in terms of his long-range passing. If you look at YouTube, some of the long-range passes he's got diagonally are fantastic. So he's obviously got a eye for a pass. I don't know what he's like with back to goal, and I don't know what he's like in terms of recovery, but I do know he's got recovery pace. So that's something that we've got. Look, he can grow and mould and learn off of 2 unbelievable centre-halves in Saliba and Gabriel. And that's something that Arsenal now can boast. If you're a young defender and you're looking to learn off of a couple of centre-halves, other than Van Dijk in the game and Rodrygo maybe, there isn't many other centre-halves out there that you'd look at and go, wow, I want to learn off of them. Bastoni, Saliba and Gabriel, I would say, are probably the ones that you look at. Now, I think everybody knows Saliba is going to be the best defender in the world at one stage. I think that everyone knows Gabriel at his age of 27 is probably one of the best in the world at the moment. They're definitely the best partnership, but we do need cover. They cannot be playing 40 million. They cannot be playing 40 games, each season. And I know that Gabriel and Saliba did that previously. Gabriel was looking to do that until his injury, and Saliba ended up doing that again. We need to look at some cover for Saliba. I am worried about Saliba. He is the one I believe next will go kaput if we're not careful. Like, really, seriously, I really do. So that's why I think it's important that we get another defender. And some people might not want to hear that. Oh, I want a striker. I want a striker, trust me. I want a left winger, trust me. I want an attacking midfielder and some cover for Saka too, trust me. But we do need to look at the players that are leaving and replacing them. And if Kivior, Zinchenko and Tierney have all gone, we're going to look to, unfortunately, go for another defender. If Neto's gone, we're going to look to go for a goalkeeper. And if Partey and Jorginho are gone, we're obviously going to be looking to get midfielders. And I think that's clearly how we've done about our business. The priority, I think, still is the striker and left winger. However, right now, they've gone for the cover players first. So we've literally got, a backup goalkeeper now, a backup defender coming in, a backup central defensive midfielder coming in, along with a starting defensive midfielder. And then I think once those positions are filled, we're going to go on the 1st of July onwards for the Rodrygos and the Gyökereses and the other players of this ilk. So that's what I hope anyway. And I keep trying to tell myself that. And I'm praying that that is the case. Because if that doesn't happen and we end up with all the defenders and all the midfielders coming in again and a backup goalkeeper and that's all we do, then I expect every Arsenal fan to riot against the Cronkies in the board because that is unacceptable. So let's see. Plenty of time. Something I did want to share with you. I don't really like graphs or stats or anything like this, but it just gives you an idea of what the stats are of Christian Mosquera, should I say, not Maresca. Crikey, where did I come that from? Apparently, Mosquera had the best ground duel win rate with 70.5% in the Liga last season of players to contest over 100 duels. So out of the players that had, flies in here. Out of the players that had over 100 duels, he was the best when it comes to ground duels. So over 70% of tackles were won. So he obviously likes to get a foot in. Let's hope he's not clumsy. I don't know if he got any sendings off, actually. Let me check that, actually. Let's see if Mosquera got any red cards. Because I actually want to see if his discipline is any good. because I really know nothing about him, to be honest. Let's see what he got last season. Did he get any red cards? No, he got none. God, he didn't even get a yellow card. No, he got 6 yellow cards. Sorry, that my eyes threw me then because it was 0, 0, 0, and then it looked like another 0, but it was 6. 6 yellow cards, no red cards, and no red cards through 2 yellow cards either. So, 1 goal, 37 appearances, and he's been in the starting 11 the whole time for Valencia. So he's obviously impressed. He's obviously a player that's impressed both Mikel Arteta and Andrea Berta. Berta would know the La Liga better than anyone, to be fair, because obviously he was a huge part of it with Atletico Madrid. If I'm honest with you, Arteta probably likes the La Liga as well, I imagine. He's Spanish, isn't he? Yeah, he is a Spanish centre-half. Played in the under-21s and starts for them. And I think he's actually been called up to the Spain squad as a squad player. Watch this space with Christian Mosquera. I don't know much about him, if I'm honest, and I don't think it's a horrific signing from what I'm hearing. But I will say, Spanish Colombian, big up to you, Jenny. So look, I don't think it's a world class signing. I don't think it's one that will take us to the next level. I think what Arsenal are doing, which is frustrating, is they're looking at these sort of backup players first. You know, Kepa, meh, hardly going to do anything. Christian Norgard, meh, not going to do much. And Mosquera, not going to do much in terms. I mean, they say not going to do much. They're going to play games. They're going to be squad players. They're going to be part of the squad, but they're not going to start for Arsenal and take us across the line. That's what I will say. It is his birthday today, just seen. Yes, it is. 21 years old today, I believe he is. So he's a youngster. So let's see. It's not going to cost a lot. I don't think he's on much money. I think he's on about 30 grand a year, 30 grand a week, 40 grand a week. So I imagine knowing Arsenal, they'll probably put him on 150 grand a week. But hopefully we put him on like 60 or 70, I'll say. I cannot go crazy with it. Let's be sure. Like it's crazy, our wage bill. We really do have to sort this out. Like, we really do. It's absolutely mad for me. Let's move to the attacking options, shall we? Everybody wants to know what we're doing on the left, attacking midfield and striker. So let's talk about that. Let's start, of course, with the left wing. Sammy Mockbell's been talking about Rodrygo. So let's talk about that. Apparently, Sammy Mockbell says that the reports linking Arsenal with Rodrygo are genuine. It is a tough deal to do, though. They'll try to do it. Anthony Gordon is another one that they have an interest in, and I've had that from a very good source. But that, again, will be difficult. That was at Latte Firm. That was Sammy Mockbell, who must have joined their podcast. Let me be clear. I don't want Anthony Gordon, not because I don't think he's good enough, and not because I don't think that he will be a good signing, because Newcastle want like 90 million for him. So Newcastle want 90 million and Real Madrid want 80 million for Rodrygo. Who would you rather have? Let's just be real. It ain't Anthony Gordon. So look, we want him, Rodrygo. Apparently Gordon's one of the names that's mentioned. And after that, I think it's gone pretty quiet. I know Rafael Leao was loosely linked with us. Lookman, people are suggesting that's not had any links. Semenyo hasn't had any links. In fact, Tottenham, I think, were linked with him ahead of us. Brian Mbeumo was mentioned. Kudus was mentioned, but they're more right-sided players. Mitoma has gone completely quiet, but I did see that one mentioned previously as well. And of course, Eze, who we'll come on to in a bit. But I personally feel like Rodrygo's number one and Eze is the one that they think is more realistic. Now, I personally believe that we need Rodrygo alongside Eze. But let's just concentrate on Rodrygo. People are saying that he's clearly leaving Real Madrid because he was dropped on the bench for the Club World Cup game. Well, I didn't realise it in the first game. He actually set up the goal and played. So it isn't like they're getting rid of this guy because he was on the bench. Otherwise, yesterday I believe Haaland was on the bench. Is he leaving? So they're just rotating their squad. Like, they've got a big enough squad. They've got Brahim Diaz. They've got Arda Güler. They've got, Vinny, who's still there. And I appreciate that Mbappe's out, so you'd like to think Rodrygo would start. But you can actually rest players. Now, I do think there's something going on here. I don't think there'll be enough, or this much, should I say, talk about Rodrygo if it wasn't genuine. I do think Arsenal are fans. I do think there's a possibility that he leaves Real Madrid. But I also think there's a possibility he stays at Real Madrid. I also think there's a possibility that if he does leave, it isn't just Arsenal that are going to be in for him. Because I've heard that Manchester City are interested and they want another left winger to upgrade on Doku. I've heard that Liverpool are looking at a left winger. And albeit Anthony Gordon is basically begging to go to Liverpool, it wouldn't surprise me if Rodrygo was turned by Liverpool. But the one place I do think that would be more realistic for him to go if he was to leave Real Madrid would, of course, be Bayern Munich. They've let Koeman go. They've let Leroy Sané go. They're looking for a left winger. They've actually been linked with Martinelli and Luis Diaz alongside Rodrygo. I think this is the sort of deal that was to make sense more if he was to go. However, he has said that Premier League would be a preference for him. Maybe he's impressed by Arsenal beating them and smashing them 5-1 in the Champions League. That might help a little bit. Chelsea need a left winger, but it looks like Jamie Gittins is the guy they're going for. Manchester City, I think, would probably be favourites. Liverpool, however, do need a left winger. And if they are going to be selling Luis Diaz and they're going to be interested in looking potentially at someone other than Gordon, if he is too much, I think you're looking at this scenario and thinking, where does Rodrygo go if he leaves Real Madrid? Does he go to Germany and play for Bayern Munich? Does he go to Liverpool, City or Arsenal in England? Or does he just stay at Real Madrid? And if I'm honest with you, I've got a hunch that I've got a bit of a hunch that he's going to stay at Real Madrid. I've got to be honest. I don't feel like Xabi Alonso would want to sell him. Why would he want to? Because they're going to have to bring somebody big in. And I don't know who that somebody big would be. The left wing market is not good. And the right wing market, I don't think it's that great either to the level of Rodrygo. You've got Saka, you've got Salah, you've got Lamine Yamal. Then you're starting to go to the next down level of that. So who are Real Madrid going to replace Rodrygo with? Now, I know that's a mad, crazy thing to say because Real Madrid can, well, they can do what they want, right? They can sign who they want. But let's be real. Who's coming in at left wing or right wing for Real Madrid that's at the level of Rodrygo? I don't think they'd be interested in bringing in Martinelli or Luis Diaz. I don't think they'd be interested in bringing in somebody like Doku. So for me, I think Real Madrid will look and say, nah, we're going to keep Rodrygo. I don't know why they would want to let him go. He might want to leave. But Xabi Alonso's job will be, look, you're going to play games. There is going to be times you're playing right wing. But trust me, you'll be able to play left wing as well. And are there any right wingers or left wingers that are Real Madrid level? If you're getting rid of Rodrygo, you're going to have to either upgrade or keep at that level. Tell me another winger that's on the level of Rodrygo that's available. And this is why I don't see him leaving Real Madrid. Now, look, he might kick up a fuss and say, no, I want out. I want a new challenge. I'm 24 now. I've won everything here. I'm a Brazilian international that needs to be playing in my preferred position. And he'll look at Liverpool, City and Arsenal and say, right, where's the best place for me to play every single game? Maybe he likes Arsenal. Maybe he wants to come and play for us. Maybe the Brazilian connection's there and he's looking at some of his Brazilian teammates and he wants to come and play with Gabriel Martinelli, Gabriel Magalhães and Gabriel Jesus. Maybe that's the case. Maybe that's what it is. But I'll be very surprised. I think he will want to stay at Real Madrid. And why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? You're guaranteed trophies every year. You're the biggest club in the world. Everybody's coming to play with you. It'll be interesting to see what happens now that Trent's here as well. If he does stay, how will that affect his game? Will it improve his game? Because it certainly did Salah's. Or will it in fact affect it? I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with Rodrygo. So let's keep an eye on the Rodrygo stuff. So Hand of Arsenal says that Andrea Berta has been pivotal to the Mosquera deal and the move to Arsenal is moving very quickly. I expect that to be announced on the 1st of July along with the others. I really do. I think the amount this is being spoken about is very interesting. And then we come to a player that actually does excite me finally. We finally look towards a player who we can talk about getting excited about. Now, I'm not saying goosebumps. Oh, my God, this is an unbelievable deal. But it is a very exciting signing if it was to happen. And it was reported yesterday by Ben Jacobs originally that we're interested in him. And then Alex Crook at TalkSport spoke about it. Apparently, Arsenal have added Eze to their list of left-wing targets. TalkSport understands that Eze has a release clause of around 68 million in his Palace contract. Now, I don't know if this is a left-wing option or if it's an attacking midfield option. Now, I know that he can play both. But is this a simultaneous transfer target that Andrea Berta is doing with Sesko and Gyökeres? Is it that he's looking at both Rodrygo and Eze? Or is it actually alongside Rodrygo? Because I think we need him alongside Rodrygo. I'm not going to lie. I look at Rodrygo and Eze and I think, brilliant. We've now got cover for Saka, Ødegaard, and we've got a left winger. So Rodrygo that's going to start on the left will actually be cover for Saka on the right. Eze coming in, I think would actually be able to displace Ødegaard in a couple of games in the attacking midfield role and can play right or left wing. I think both of these signings would be phenomenal for Arsenal. Phenomenal. Bringing in the striker like a Gyökeres, bringing in Eze and bringing in Rodrygo, I will be happy with the other players we're linked with, and they all come in as well, to rate this window finally how it should have been rated properly in the last few and say that it's an 8 out of 10. I'm not going to go mad and say this is a 10 out of 10 window, oh my God, but I will give it the fair rating that it deserves to be if these deals happen. At the moment, it's like a 2 out of 10 window. Yeah. No one's been announced. All of them are squad backups. Nothing exciting. Pathetic. However, what I would say is that if we are going to get the likes of Eze, the likes of Rodrygo, the likes of Gyökeres, that's going to go to a 7 or an 8 very, very quickly. Now, this would be a brilliant move. I don't personally know. What's this from Sean? Only player in history where the fan base who sign him are angry and the fan base who don't are angry. Well, he's linked with Spurs, Sean, obviously, and I think Spurs want him, and I can understand why Spurs want him. I think Spurs have got a big summer ahead of them. Big summer. They need to. Daniel Levy needs to sort it out because that's a joke club over there. But big up to Sean. Make sure you're following Spurs Talk Show. Look, Eze would be a brilliant signing for Arsenal. He really would. And he play a hell of a lot of games. He might not start in the first 11. He might not. He might not play ahead of Saka, or he might not play ahead of our left winger that we buy. But I'll tell you this. If he's coming in as the left winger, I think he would start. I think he'd have a brilliant chance of starting ahead of Martinelli. I think he'd have a brilliant chance of definitely starting ahead of Trossard. And I do think, and I've said this before, and I said it yesterday, and I agree with it, and I'll say it again. I think he's got a great chance of playing ahead of Martin Odegaard because his bloody inconsistent performances of last season frustrated the life out of me. And I've tried to defend Martin Odegaard as a footballer because I know he's technically gifted, but my goodness, he was showing some absolutely pathetic consistency performances last season. It was bad. If that continues, this guy will think that he can start for Arsenal in the attacking midfield role. And we give the armband to Rice or Gabriel because this was not good enough for Martin Odegaard. So I think he needs some competition. And at the moment, he's only got Dalman and Ethan Waneri and Fabi Vieira if you bring him back, which no one wants. So it has to be somebody like this guy coming in, man. He has to come in. Eze would be a phenomenal signing. Absolutely phenomenal. Now, there is some rumours on Team News and Ticks that suggests that actually we have agreed some personal terms with him. I don't know if that is 100% true. I don't think Team News and Ticks is 100% reliable. But I will say that I think this one would be a very, very good deal. Now, the £68 million release clause, they're saying, could be paid over installments, right? That's what they're saying. Now, I don't know if this is 100% legit. I don't know if this is something that Crystal Palace know about. Maybe there's a Palace fan in the chat that can let me know this. But according to Team News and Ticks, this is a source that was put out yesterday. Apparently, we have an agreement on personal terms with Eze. The player wants the move. Palace, the price is 3 installments of 20 million with an £8 million add-on. However, with the way Berta operates, this could just be a backup plan for the club's number one left winger target, which of course is Rodrygo. So are we looking at him as a backup for the number one plan, Rodrygo? Are we looking at this as someone as well as and alongside 3 installments of 20 million with an £8 million of add-on? That sounds like an Arsenal deal to me. If it was 68 outright, I honestly don't think we would do it. I really don't think we would do it. But if they're looking at a certain amount fixed up front and then some installments, I think that we could do this. I really do. I think it makes sense. And I think it's a signing that would excite a lot of the fans. I don't think he's a player that takes us across the line, but I think he's certainly one that comes in and scores goals, creates, gives some technical ability and flair. Always scored important goals. Obviously, we saw goals in the semi-final and the final of the FA Cup. Scored a brilliant goal against Arsenal at the Emirates. And has caused havoc for a lot of players and a lot of teams and a lot of players. So I personally feel Like, this deal would be a phenomenal one to happen. I think it'd be excellent. I really do. So big fan of this one and hope it happens. I really do. Like, I think this one would actually please a lot of the fans. I don't think there's any of the fans that would be going, "Oh, I don't want him. God, I don't want Eze." Come on. Like, Eze would be a phenomenal signing. He really would. He'd be exceptional. He's one of the plans. It's unclear if he's first choice or backup. That's what's being said. Can be in installments of 20 million with £8 million add-ons. So that one could be very interesting. Mosquera deal again is being spoken about. So we'll come on to that in a minute. Is there anything else on Eze at the moment? No, there's not. Okay. So let's get back to it, shall we? There's been some news on Mosquera again. This one's picking up. I think this one's happening, people. This Mosquera deal, I think it's happening. Arsenal have an agreement with Mosquera on personal terms. Negotiations with Valencia are on track. Apparently, we're advancing in talks over a deal for him. Berta's a long-term admirer of the player. And also up here, it says a little bit more about the amount. We're in advanced talks with him. Negotiations specifically structured around paying the fee in installments. Again, that's something that we absolutely love. We love an installment. Apparently, it's a 17 million release clause, although Berta is working to agree a fee below that. Wow, that's come from Graham Bailey. £17 million for him. That's a steal, really, isn't it? Let's be honest. That's nothing, is it? All right. Arsenal understood to be confident that an agreement can be struck with Valencia for Mosquera for potentially under 17 million. Spanish sources insist that Berta first established contract to register Arsenal's interest in the player in early May. So this is Andrea Berta, and this is why it excites me more than the others, right? People are saying never heard of him, never heard of him. Well, I'd never heard of Rodri at Villarreal. Yeah, I'd never really heard of some of the players that he's brought in that weren't the likes of the Alvarez and the Suarez and the David Villa. He has brought some brilliant players into the club. Yeah, Salco was superb at right back for them. Never heard of him. Yeah, like these are the players that he's brought in that you think, oh, where the hell's that? Boom, Rodri. What the hell? Who's he? Cunha. What? DePaul. What? These are the players he brought in that you thought, who the hell are these? And now look at him. Diogo Jota. Who's that? So this is a guy that I have faith in. Andrea Berta, I'm giving this guy a little bit. I'm giving him some leeway. I'm going to say fair play. Let's see what he's like. Because this is not a Mikel Arteta deal. And if he's got a £17 million release clause and we're trying to get him for, say, 12 to 15, then big up to you, Berta. Big up to you. Let's hope you get him. Early May as well. Interesting. Also, what's interesting is this, and I did mention this earlier. Arsenal's interest in Yoral Harto remains ongoing. At this stage, any deal would likely depend on the futures of Zinchenko and Kivior, plus Ajax's potential asking price. Now, the asking price will probably be around about 35 million because it's similar to what Jurriën Timber was asked for, right? He's a bit younger than we had when we had Timber. I think we bought Timber at 22. Yoral Harto has just turned 19, I believe. So I think we'll probably get him for around about 30 to 35 million. But it's only going to be if Kivior goes alongside Zinchenko. And now I understand why that would be, because you'd have Kivior that's leaving out the door. You'd have Harto and Calafiori that can play to cover for Gabriel. And then obviously you've got your left backs in Lewis-Skelly and Calafiori. That, or Harto might even play at left back. That for me would actually make sense. And I know people will laugh and say another defender, but we would need them if they're coming out. It's fine saying no more defenders if they all stay, but if 4 of them leave, you're going to have to go and get another player, aren't you? So you've got to be realistic about who's leaving and who needs to be replaced. So this one does actually make sense for me. It does. This is quite an interesting piece of news as well, because Sammy Mockbell believes that Arsenal could be in for Kudus. And I actually heard this. The other day. Sammy Mockbell says, it wouldn't shock me if Arsenal have made an inquiry for Kudus. There's been interest there in the past. My information in Kudus is that all of the top 6 in the Premier League have checked in on conditions on that deal. It's an £85 million release clause, but I think West Ham would be willing to take below that. There's a long-term interest there, and that is one to watch in the absence of getting Rodrygo or Gordon. So really, we're looking here at Eze and Kudus. Now, I'd take both of them. Because he covers, well, both of them cover across the front 3, right? Right wing, left wing, and attacking 10. If we can't get Rodrygo, and you said to me we're going to get Kudus and Eze, or Rodgers and Eze, I'd say, do you know what? That's still good enough. But if you said to me, well, we're not getting Rodrygo, we're getting Eze, that is a downgrade on what we should have got. Why do I want Eze? I do want Eze. I don't think that is a guaranteed ceiling raiser, whatever people call it. Yeah, needle mover, people call it. Eze and Kudus together would be phenomenal. I don't know that we've got that money to spend, but I believe apparently we have. So if they're the two that we're going for alongside Rodrygo, then boom, we get it done. Now, I'm not paying 85 million for Kudus. I think that's ridiculous, if I'm honest. I think I'd probably be willing to go up to 60, but would West Ham want to accept that? We've done business before with West Ham. I don't think we really did too much of a great job at going back in, because I think Arteta and Edu together and Garlic for this Declan Rice deal, I think we pissed them off and insulted them quite a bit. So I don't know that we'd be willing to do it. But this is Andrea Berta. He could come in and say, right, big fan of Mohamed Kudus, think he can come in and cover for Erdegaard and Saka and play on the left. Let's get him in and we'll give you 55 million with add-ons and just see and test the waters. Then we go up to 60, we go up to 70. I think that's the most I've gone up with, really 60, 65. I don't think that's good business really much further than that, because I don't actually think he's unbelievable. Like, I don't actually think he's like, wow. I like him. I think he had a poor season. I think West Ham had a poor season. But I do think he's a good player. And he's one that I know we've been interested in before. So let's see. It might be too much money. Eze might be easier to do. Well, he will be easier to do because he's got a release clause of less. But they both got release clause. If you really want them, all you got to do is go and release the clause. 68 million, 85 million. Now, I know it's a hell of a lot of money and it's 150. Have we got that on top of the Zubimendi deal and all the others and the striker? I don't know. Apparently, we've got a mad amount of money. Kieran Maguire said it. We could have 300 odd million, 350 million is mad at what we're hearing. If that's true, then, well, yeah, we've got the money. Yeah. And Liverpool and City have moved mad. So we might have to. Manchester City in the last two windows have spent over 300. Liverpool look like they're going to spend over 300. Guess what we've got to do, people? You guessed it. Spend over 300. That's what I expect to see this window from the Cronkies and Berta and Arteta. So let's see where we're going with that. Very interesting there. Very interesting. Okay, we're also going to look at the other news that's come in. Obviously, as it was mentioned, he has got 21 today. And there's other news from Romano. Now, I don't think it's about new players or a new player, but he was on a podcast clearly talking about Arsenal's busy summer. And he apparently said, get ready, Arsenal fans. It's been a busy summer already, and the best is yet to come because Arsenal want to do way more. Well, it hasn't been a busy summer already, has it? We haven't signed anyone. But we are, of course, linked with 4 or 5 players now. Arsenal want to do way more. It's going to be a busy summer. Zubimendi, he says everything is done. The contract is signed. The medical is okay. That's going to be announced on the 1st of July. Obviously, Norgard, he said, can you imagine in the Arsenal squad at this moment, there's not one player over 30? That shows how good the project is, but you also need to add experience. So Norgard is seen as the perfect player. Arsenal's been very fast in this negotiation. They're going to pay 11 million plus add-ons. He sees Arsenal as the opportunity of a lifetime. He's always wanted to stay at Brentford, but when Arsenal called, Norgard said yes immediately. It's actually true now, Partey and Jorginho have gone, that we don't have anybody over the age of 30, which is very healthy. But it's only healthy if that squad's good enough to win stuff for the next 4 or 5 years. Now, that's what we've got to get to. I don't know what Fabrizio is saying, that we've had a fantastic summer already, but we just really haven't. Haven't signed anyone yet. But I understand what he means by the age thing. Now, I don't really care how old our squad is as long as it's a winning squad, right? But if you look at one that's ready to be going and winning and dominating, you have to be looking at an average age of around about 26, 27 that's ready now. And I don't know what our average age is, but I imagine it's between 25 and 27, right? So go and win. I don't care how young we are or how old we are, how experienced we are. Go and win. That's what I will say. Romano says that Arsenal behind the scenes have been working very well on Mosquera. His understanding is that the player wants to go to Arsenal and sees Arsenal as the perfect opportunity for his career. You have to compete with Gabriel and Saliba, but what I'm hearing is that Mosquera is not scared of this. He wants to be there. My feeling is that for around 20 million euros to 25 million euros, Arsenal can get this deal done, which does work out his release clause, which is around about 17 million, I believe, or roughly. I think we'll probably get this done. I don't know how much it's going to cost. I imagine it'll be around 15 million. But for me, that is not bad when you look at it for a backup. I think it's needed. He's also said Rodrygo is one of Arsenal's dreams. Is that right? Rodrygo is one of the dreams for Arsenal, sorry. In order to make the deal happen, Rodrygo needs to go and tell Real Madrid that he wants to leave. He has the power to decide. If he asks to be sold, Arsenal will be in the conversation for sure. That's come from Fabrizio Romano. So, yeah, let's see what happens with Rodrygo. We've mentioned that one. Then, of course, we come to a close with this. The conversation for both Sesko and Gyökeres is ongoing, still. With daily contacts, all parties involved. Arsenal are on it, so let's see what they decide. For sure, a new striker will be at the Arsenal this summer. Wow. And we still don't know who we want. And does that fill you with confidence? It doesn't me. I've got to be honest. It does not fill me with confidence that we have got a position of Sesko and Gyökeres and we still don't know our number one target. Now, maybe we do know our number one target. Maybe our number one target is Sesko, but Berta's trying to work simultaneously on the deal for Gyökeres. Or do I dare say it? We go for both. I have no idea, but we'll find out very soon. Then we talk about Myles, which we did earlier. And there was some news here. Here we go. It's just updating. This is a Declan Rice bid from the other day. I don't know why that's coming in there. Here we go. Gary Jacob. Here we go. Gary Jacob is saying that Arsenal are stepping up their pursuit of a winger. Eze and Madueke are on the shortlist. Rodrygo, Rodgers and Paxao are also on Arsenal's list of wide attackers. Berta is exploring various options. Arsenal have been interested in Anthony Gordon and Nico Williams as well, but the cost of both has provided prohibitive. Okay, out of that list, the only ones I even want to entertain talking about are Eze, Rodrygo and Morgan Rodgers. I don't want Paxao or Madueke. Igor Paxao has been linked with Villa and Leeds. I do not want a Villa and Leeds target. Noni Madueke is not good enough for Arsenal. He will not get ahead of Saka. He will not start on the left. He will not be a good player. Please do not go for him. Morgan Rodgers, yes, but I think he'll be expensive. Rodrygo and Eze, probably the more realistic targets if they were to come available. But I like the names we're being linked with there. Even Anthony Gordon and Nico Williams, like that we're not being linked with absolute trash, you know? So I think that would be quite exciting. So that's interesting. And I think that is where we are at. There was some news down here about Sesko that I did miss, that I said I'd come back to close on. I can't remember what it was now. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Somewhere. Here we go. Apparently, we're still going to end up with Sesko, aren't we? Leipzig's dreams of getting 80 to 100 for Sesko. According to BILD information, however, 70 plus add-ons is seen as more realistic. No concrete offer has been received by the club yet. Okay, let me finish on this. We clearly want Sesko and Gyökeres. They're clearly two of our targets. They're both going to be similar prices. One might want more in wages or whatever it be, but it doesn't sound like there's far off there. Gyökeres, I believe, will probably want around about £200,000 a week. And I think, if I'm honest, Sporting want around 70 million. We understand that Leipzig want a little bit more, 70 million euros, and probably 70 million pounds would be what they want. Plus, he's probably going to want 200 grand a week as well. We have to go for Gyökeres out of that deal. Why would we be paying more money to Leipzig and similar wages when you can go and give less money to Sporting and similar wages for Gyökeres? It makes absolutely no sense. This is, for me, like saying you've got an unbelievable motor car, that's your dream car that you think is going to get you across the line. You've got one that might get you there in a few years, but it's going to be a lot more, that one. But actually, it's going to overtake this one in the next 5 years. You go and get the one that sports car to get you to go and get the job. Go and get the job done. Like, why are we looking at this? Like, I don't know why we're doing this. Like, it makes absolutely no sense to me. It really does not make any sense to me why we're looking at Sesko over Gyökeres. I'm sorry, it doesn't excite me. I'm sorry. It does not excite me at all. It is not something that I am interested in at all, if I'm honest. It's just frustrating more than anything, if I'm honest. Frustrates the hell out of me. That's what I will say. Everybody I speak to would prefer Gyökeres. Some people want Sesko ahead of him. And listen, it's your preference. But go and get the guy who's delivering, yeah? Go and get the guy who is absolutely ready now to get us across the line. Let's do these super chats as we come to a close. Emirates Zero says, I love Eze, but as an attacking midfielder, I'd love Leao as the left winger. I'm not sure about Leao, but he has been mentioned. That's for sure. Lego says, every signing is an Arteta signing. He's the coach. Well, that's not strictly true now, is it? Because Andrea Berta is definitely going to be involved more with that. Now, it might be that Arteta has a say on it as well, but Andrea Berta needs to be the guy. Per, big up to you, bruv. He says, nearly 6 years of evidence shows that no player who increases pressure to deliver has been Arteta's doing. Rice is the exception, and that proves the rule. Look, I agree. I don't think that the signings, when I went through hit and miss, I don't think I was unfair. I don't think I was. No, I really don't think I was. Ginny says, compared to Eddie Howe's, hardly any misses. I see what you mean. Signings, yeah, look, I think Newcastle have been phenomenal. I really do. I think their signings have been exceptional. Lego says, no one thought Zinchenko and Jesus were misses in 22-23. They raised our floor. I'm guessing any signing you like this window will be a Berta signing. Okay. Big up for the super chat. Let me explain this. Zinchenko and Jesus were brought in to get us into the Champions League. We found ourselves in a title race. Oh, bless me. And after that 3 months, Jesus, we never really seen him again. That's a flop. That's been a poor signing. It might not have been when we signed him, but it's turned into a poor signing. Zinchenko was pivotal to how we played in that 22-23 season, inverting as the left back. Unfortunately, he needs to go. It's turned into a miss. Every signing this window will be Berta's signing. I still don't know. I don't think Zubimendi is. I don't think Sesko would be. I don't think Norgard is. That's just been proved by Romano or Mockbell that it was Arteta that wanted him. So, no, I don't think it will be. Tama says it's like boy does homework and delays the one matters. Huh? It's like boy don't do homework. I'm not quite sure I'm understanding that one, mate. Ryan says Gyökeres and Eze, Sesko and Rodrygo. Gyökeres and Eze for me. Oh, excuse me. I've still got this bloody cough. Oh, dear me. Gyökeres and Eze for me, because I think Gyökeres is levels on Sesko. And I'm not saying that Rodrygo isn't levels on Eze, but Eze can actually come in and play left wing and attack in midfield and be cover for Saka. And Gyökeres is going to fire us. So that's why I would do that. If you had my point, I'd say Gyökeres and Rodrygo, if I had my way. Stephen, hold on, Dan. The title says terms agreed. Until they sign and hold up the shirt, I'll always be apprehensive. Yeah, of course, mate. This is what we hear from the information. Terms agreed. In advanced talks are huge admirers of. How about we just sign someone? That would be nice, wouldn't it? Big up to all your super chats. Make sure you've hit like. We haven't got anywhere near enough likes on here, by the way. Oh, my God. We haven't even got 300 likes. There's 1.3K in here. What the hell's going on? Over 1,000 of you haven't hit the like button. Come on, people. Show me some love. Hit the like and subscribe. It's 2 buttons that are free. Let's get us up to 50K. Hit the like button now. That needs to be done. Make sure you're following Match Bingo as well. Match Bingo needs to be downloaded. Club World Cup, Women's Euros. People are winning money. Let me know, because the league table at the moment is Liverpool winning. Yeah. Arsenal second, Newcastle in third, Wolves and Spurs coming after that. Let's make sure you download that. Add £5 to your account and you can play. So make sure that we hit the like and subscribe button now, and you get Match Bingo done after this stream on the QR code. Stay tuned, because we're going to get Lee Judge's thoughts right now. We're going to be sending over to his channel. We're going to be talking about that Arsenal stuff, get his opinions on some of these deals. So come join me over there now. We're going to be sending you over there. Don't leave anywhere. See you in a sec.